Donnie Yen was supposed to go unnoticed in Hollywood. However, what seemed like a career filled with disappointment ended up becoming a global revolution. He spent more than 20 years being ignored outside of Asia. He arrived in Hollywood carrying cables and designing fight scenes for others, and when he was finally given a leading role, everything changed. But how did a forgotten man, seemingly destined for failure, become one of the greatest legends in cinema? Donnie Yen wasn't born a star, but he was practically born to fight. His story began in China, although he was truly shaped in the United States. From a very young age, he was surrounded by martial arts thanks to his mother, Bo Sim Mark, a globally recognized kung fu master. She didn't just teach him techniques, but also discipline, control, and a mindset focused on constant improvement. But Donnie was not an ordinary student. He wasn't satisfied with simply repeating movements. He wanted to understand them, break them down, and perfect them. When his family moved to Boston, his perspective changed completely. It was there that he began training not only in kung fu, but also in boxing, taekwondo, and other combat styles. Long before mixed martial arts became popular, Donnie was already combining disciplines and developing his own style.
I think that I'm a person who likes to learn a lot. I don't like to stop in one certain spot. So whoever I can learn from, instantly they become my mentor.
However, that path wasn't perfect. During his teenage years, he got into street fights. He had more than enough talent, but he needed direction. That's why his mother made a crucial decision, to send him to train in Beijing with some of the best masters in China. That moment changed everything. Donnie went from someone with potential to becoming an elite athlete. He trained every day, refining his technique, his speed, and his precision. It was during this stage that everything clicked. Donnie Yen didn't just know how to fight, he also understood how to make a fight look real on screen. Without realizing it, he was developing the skills that would later make him one of the most complete and respected action stars in the world. While Donnie Yen was dominating the Asian market with a level far above average, in the West, his name was virtually non-existent. The most curious part is that he wasn't unknown to the industry. Hollywood was already using him as a consultant and choreographer, but kept him in the shadows. He was the technical architect behind major action sequences, while his career as an actor was being ignored. And the most striking part is that he wasn't just working or gaining experience. He was creating some of the best action sequences in cinema at the time. In Iron Monkey, his execution was so precise that it set a standard that was hard to match. It said his speed was so extreme that filming had to be adjusted so the human eye could properly register the clarity of each strike.
I don't think that was that much. I really don't think that was a difficult move. It's just perhaps I executed that move nicely. And you shot it properly.
His speed and precision were completely out of the ordinary, blending classic kung fu with a far more explosive and modern execution. Every movement was clean, every strike had intention, and it was already clear he was operating on another level. Then, in SPL Kill Zone, he pushed that evolution even further. The fights stopped feeling choreographed and started feeling real, more raw, more intense, more direct. His fight with Wu Jing is remembered not just for the skill, but for the organic nature of the exchange. Much of that sequence was a fluid interaction where both martial artists reacted in real time, elevating the tension to a level of realism rarely seen in action cinema. And just when it seemed like he couldn't innovate any further, Flashpoint arrived. There, Donnie did something almost no one was doing in cinema at the time, integrating mixed martial arts in a real way. Takedowns, submissions, ground transitions, control of the opponent, elements that are common today, but back then were revolutionary in action films. It wasn't just spectacle, it was real technique applied on screen. It wasn't just choreography, it was the evolution of the genre. And yet, outside of Asia, no one was paying attention. It wasn't a lack of talent, nor discipline. It was something more frustrating. Hollywood simply didn't know what to do with him. In an industry built on rigid molds, Donnie didn't fit. He wasn't the typical Western lead, nor the limited stereotype often assigned to Asian actors. And while others were breaking into the global market and building international careers, Donnie kept accumulating experience, refining his technique, and raising the level of action cinema, but far from the global spotlight. There were no headlines about him outside Asia, no major opportunities in Hollywood, but that didn't change his mindset. Instead of adapting to what the industry expected, he chose to become even better at what he already did. Faster, sharper, more real. Because Donnie understood something crucial. Recognition may take time, but when the level is that high, there comes a point where it simply cannot be ignored. After years in the shadows, the moment that would change everything finally arrived. It wasn't in Hollywood or tied to a massive international franchise, but to a much simpler story, one that aligned perfectly with him, Ip Man. The film told the story of Bruce Lee's master, but for Donnie, it was much more than that. It was a character that represented everything he had built over the years: discipline, control, precision, and respect for martial arts. He wasn't playing someone else, he was revealing who he truly was. This wasn't just another role, it was the role where everything clicked. Years of preparation, frustration, and growth finally found their moment. And this time, the impact wouldn't stay confined to Asia. The entire world was about to discover him. With Ip Man, everything changed. The film wasn't just a success, it was an explosion. Suddenly, audiences around the world began to notice something different about Donnie Yen. His style wasn't exaggerated or overly choreographed. It felt real, fast, precise. Every strike had intention, every movement had logic. It didn't look like acting, it looked like a real fight. It had everything we as fans value: realism. His movements were so clean and natural that they could be shown without interruption, making every scene feel far more real without unnecessary exaggeration. This is because Donnie didn't come from a single style. He had spent years training in different disciplines: traditional kung fu, boxing, taekwondo, and more. That allowed him to adapt within the same fight. What the audience sees isn't repetitive choreography, it's something unpredictable. And that unpredictability creates tension. Because unlike other action scenes where everything feels rehearsed, with Donnie there is a constant sense that anything can happen. It doesn't matter the budget, the cast, or the story. His presence changes the perception of action, and when Hollywood finally realized all of that, that's when the most important shift happened. Donnie stopped being just an Asian star and became a global reference in action cinema. The world finally saw him and realized it had been late all along. After the global phenomenon of Ip Man, Donnie Yen's narrative in Hollywood changed dramatically. He went from being a supporting actor to becoming a benchmark of excellence. His arrival in Western cinema was not that of an aspiring performer, but of a master carrying a technical arsenal built from decades of innovation in Hong Kong. In productions like Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and John Wick, Chapter 4, Yen didn't just bring his presence. He brought a cinematic sensibility that forced the camera to stay still and let real movement speak for itself. In John Wick 4, his character, Kane, redefined the assassin archetype. Through a blind swordsman, Yen turned physical limitation into a choreographic advantage, using sound and space so fluidly that he stole every scene he was in. He wasn't just an opponent for Wick, he was his cinematic equal, bringing a mix of ironic humor and calm lethality that only someone with his experience could project. His performance was so well received that Lionsgate officially announced the development of a spin-off film, centered entirely on his character, Kane. What makes his rise even more fascinating is the timeline of his success. While many action stars peak in their youth, Yen reached global recognition in his maturity, proving that technical mastery is timeless. For years, he worked in the shadow of the great names of Hong Kong's golden age, refining a style that blended the elegance of wushu with the brutality of street combat. That waiting period wasn't wasted. It was the incubation phase of a style that today stands as the gold standard in action cinema worldwide. Donnie Yen is not just a star. He is the bridge that connected the mystique of Eastern martial arts with the spectacle of the Western blockbuster. His legacy isn't measured in box office numbers, but in the way that today, any fight scene that feels real and exciting carries in some way his DNA. If you enjoyed this story, don't miss this other one about how Chuck Norris built his legacy in martial arts in Hollywood. Don't forget to support me with your like and subscribe. I'll see you in that video.